let's get right into it. Let's talk about money. Even saying that subject, I remember growing up in a household where, talking about money was like taboo. It was just like it was like a very dark subject. It was either, we ain't got it, or, you know, come to me on the third of the month, and things like that. So it wasn't like an upbeat kind of tempo of talking about money. All right, here's my oh wait here's my contact information. Schalor Blackshear at gmail.com, straightforward. Also my website, www.TheHustleBubble.com, and you can follow me on Instagram, _ TheHustleBubble. You want to take a screenshot, don't worry, I have it at the end as well. So mostly Chichi already said about this, but 2016, I graduated from King University, psychology. In 2018, I graduated from Rutgers Camden with my master's in public administration. And currently I'm a 1L at Drexel University. I'm a paralegal in the Army Reserves. And lastly, I'm a disability program manager for the Department of Navy. Some of my hobbies, I like to read, write, exercise, binge watch TV shows. Right now I'm on All American, just catching up on some seasons to prepare for the third season. And I like to travel. In a couple days, I'll be going to Costa Rica. So I'm excited about that. Misconceptions. Getting a degree is a way out of poverty. So I'll be honest. When I was growing up, we were on Section 8. My parents didn't have formal education. They didn't go to college or anything like that. So I figured the reason why we were struggling so much was because they didn't have an education. And I thought, and clearly I'm an advocate for education, as you can, see in my background. But I thought that formal education was a way out of poverty. And I'll explain more deeper why that is a misconception. If you want to have money, work hard. That's clearly a misconception. My mom worked doubles, 7 to 3, 3 to 11 all the time, and still was barely made ends meet. We were still poor. So working hard is good, but there's a little bit more that you have to know in money management, so that way your money can be working for you, which I'll go over in the next slides. People say I don't have money to invest. That's not true. Even this app called Acorns, you can start investing $5 a week, and although it may seem not a lot what $5 can do, but the compound interest over a couple years, 10, 20 years, and you keep adding your money, it's definitely going to pay off. My money is safe in the bank. Did you know from 1914 to all the way 1921, the inflation rate is about 3.23, meaning that the $20 today is not the same as it was in 1990. It's the value of a dollar is slowly decreasing. So if you think that, I know people may be afraid of that, um, investing is dangerous. You'll lose your money. Well, you'll lose your money in the bank as well. And there's some safe ways that you can invest your money. The one of the things that keep people in a poor mindset, and when I say poor mindset, that doesn't mean that your income is poor. When I tell my story about my credit card usage, I was working for the federal government. I had a condo. I had a push to start car. Outside looking in, I was living good, but my finances was out of order. I was living in a term called house poor, where my expenses was more than my income. I fell into the term lifestyle creep, where as my salary increased, my expenses increased. And before I knew it, my expenses was increasing a lot more than my salary. I kept telling myself, I deserve it. I want to treat myself and stuff like that. So, money management is key. So, and as the next one, I need a high paying salary to have money. When um, when I did get the high paying salary and I was working for the federal government, I was in more financial trouble than I once was forever. The thing about money is if you can't manage pennies, you can't manage dollars. Um, so the first five laws of wealth: track your money. As I mentioned, I don't know if anybody in here is in the military. Um, no, I don't, no. Okay, that's fine. So, for an example, so in the military, when it's time to report in the morning, they do this thing. It's called roll call. They do an accountability check. Um, why? I'm gonna ask a question to y'all. Why do you think the army does that? Why do you think they have accountability check for their soldiers? Okay, that's
You guys can answer in the chat too if you can't speak right now.
okay. No, that's fine. So the reason why is because soldiers might not come to formation. Like think about it like this in class when teachers do roll call and they have accountability check to for students showing up whether they showed up or not. If there was no accountability check, some people would take advantage of that and run wild, or you know soldiers may be lazy and they might not show up and things like that. You have to treat your money, like that. You have to know where your money is going, where you're tracking your money, how much you're spending. um because most of the time, when we get paid and we see we're running low on money, we don't know what happened to it or anything like that. Or I know that happened to me plenty of times. I just couldn't tell you where the money went, and that's because I wasn't keeping track of it. My money was lazy. My money didn't work. It just my money went to everything else but me and things like that. But I'll go more details into that later. Um, live below your means. Um, that's just key and critical for money management. Just because you can afford it, that doesn't mean that you should buy it. Um, pay yourself. This one is a little bit more. When I say that, it's a little bit confusing. I got this term from the book. It's called "The Richest Man in Babylon," and basically, the richest man in Babylon shares a story of how he became wealthy. Before he became wealthy, he was a tablet scriber. And one day, a wealthy man walked in his shop and he asked for a tablet. He struck a deal with the wealthy man, and he told him, I'll have your tablet done by tomorrow if you can tell me how you became wealthy." He said, "How you became wealthy." So the tablet inscriber, he worked all night, to the very minute the wealthy man came into the shop again. The tablet was finished. The tablet scriber said, "Hey, I fulfilled my end of the bargain. Now you tell me how you became wealthy." And he said, "I found the road to riches when I learned that a part of what I earned is mine to keep." And the tablet inscriber, he looked at him strange and said, "What? All my money is mine to keep." And he asked him, "How much money did you make in the past year?" Tablet tablet scriber didn't know. He said, "What about 3 months, a month, last week?" And he said, "You pay everybody but yourself." He said, "If you continue this way, you'll always be a slave to the money, and you'll always be dependent on whoever pays you." He told him what he does is everything he earned, he takes 1/10 of that, so 10% of his income he put aside, and then what he does with that, he invests it, which I'll go more into. But establish good credit. Establish good credit is key. I remember I seen someone said they didn't know their credit score. I use Credit Karma, and I track that, and they give suggestions on how you can improve your score. And the key thing about that is that, as I mentioned on the compound interest of credit cards, when your credit card is going up, your credit card utilization is going up as well, which makes your credit score go down. So you want to keep on, and then but Credit Karma kind of keeps an eye on that as well, and they do a great job on explaining that and showing you your credit card usage and things like that. And also, you can look at established good credit as the actual good credit or good reputation. I don't know if anybody is religious, but you know, Proverbs 22:3, a good name is more precious than gold or silver. So you can go really far in this world with a good name. Um, and also, ownership is non-negotiable. I got that from Tyler Perry, who I think it was like last year. He officially got his billionaire status, and he shared a story about his relationship with his father and his employer. He said that his dad will work for a white man, build houses. Once the dad completed the house, white man gave him $800. The white man sold the house for $80,000. He said his dad will come home excited for making $800, but Tyler Perry looked at the man who made $80,000 and he realized that ownership was the formula to that, and that's where he came up with, you know, ownership is non-negotiable. So in everything you do, you know, after graduation and things, try to find some ownership in what you're doing. All right. So this 15-minute challenge is probably going to take you quicker than that, honestly, maybe 5-10 minutes. But what I want you to do is write down all your expenses for the month on a sheet of paper. And then on another sheet of paper, I want you to write down your monthly income. Then what I want you to do is I want you to take your monthly income and minus your monthly expenses to determine your cash flow. Your cash flow is basically the money you have left over after you pay your bills. So just let me know when everyone has completed that. I'll check in at 2:41. And let me know if you have any questions or anything like that.
And just say done in the chat so that way we know who's done or not from the.
I actually have a question.
Oh, absolutely. What's your question?
How would you calculate your monthly income if your income is variable? Like if you work a part-time and you don't know exactly what your income the next month is going to look like?
That's a really great question. Honestly, I would use like an average number, or you know, the lowest number. My suggestion is always round down. Always pick the lowest number. That way, you know, you're safe regardless, and you know you're more realistic, and then you have that kind of that safety margin. So I would choose an average. Did you like recently start the job, or has it been a year, or just a couple months?
No. This is just me asking in general because I've had variable income jobs in the past, and I was asking for the sake of the students.
Okay, yeah, I would choose an average. I would always round down. I would always choose like the lowest number I could choose as a safety margin. Yeah, I would choose the average. So like the average of 3 months. So if you had three different variables, add those three numbers up, divided by 3, and I would use that number. Okay. So, ways for your money to work for you, the good stuff. So, as I mentioned before, Acorns. I'm not trying to like promote any apps or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I use. I use Acorns. Depending on which profile you choose, you can choose moderate, aggressive, safe. And the cool thing about that is that they invest your money for you. Based on your profile. So if you're aggressive, if you choose the aggressive profile, or they assign you an aggressive profile, then that's where you're investing mostly in stocks like Apple, the big names and stuff like that. But if you're a moderate or safe profile, then you're investing more in stocks and bonds. And the cool thing is that they have a feature. Whatever weekly amount that you're able to invest, they show you the projections of what it'll be in 30 and 40 years, like your age, and 30, 40 years later from now. And that's the key thing that I was talking about as far as compound interest, and how if you understand it, it can work in your favor. And that's one way that it can work in your favor. Um, S&P 500 index. Okay, so SM, S&P 500 index is basically 500 companies, and they're all in one index. The way I break it down in simple terms is, okay, let's say you're going shopping, right? And you know, you go to the mall, you look at the mall, you say, I'm not sure what stores I want to buy. I'm not sure what items I want from the store. I'm just going to buy the whole mall. That's what basically the S&P 500 index is you basically buying the whole mall. That means the 500, um, and most of the time is the most popular stocks, like Apple's in there, Tesla's in there, and things like that. So, and the great thing about them is dating back all the way to like the 1921, they have an annual average of 10%. So what that means is that if you put $100 in, more than likely you'll have earned what's that, $10. And then you may say, well, $10 not a lot or anything like that, but compound interest keep after year, and you keep adding money, and you keep adding money. The next thing you know, it's $10, it's $20, it's $50. As I mentioned before in the credit card example, that 180 to 244 was, it's a big difference. So that's one way. And the ETF, the exchange traded funds. So here's how I explain the exchange traded funds. Let's say you don't want to buy them all. It's too big. It's too much for you. It's a scary thought. You decide to go into the mall and you see these bunch of stores. You say, you walk into the store, you look at the store, and you say, out of so you see a gold store, you see a silver store, you see different technology store. You look at the gold store, and you say, what, I think I want the gold store, but I'm not sure which item in the store I want, so I buy the whole store. So that's basically what ETFs are. It's grouped in sectors. So they have a gold sector, which are gold mining companies for ETFs. They have a silver ETFs. They have technology. So there's different kind of ETFs that you can go within the mall. So you just want to look at it as buying a store, and which moves on to the next part. Uh, Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know if many know, but the CEO of this company is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the um, top investors of our time, well respected. I think he's last time I checked, he was number 4 on the richest man, worth billions of dollars. And the cool thing about this is that you can go on Google and type in Berkshire Hathaway's top 10 holdings, and they'll let you know what stocks they are investing in. And then you can copy the same method that he's using, and you can do that way. And what you'll see is you'll see stocks. Now stocks is, I'll use the store reference. So let's say you don't want to buy the mall, you don't want to buy the store, you want something very specific. You want leggings. You want leggings. So you go into the store that sells leggings and you buy the item, and then that's where it is. That's what stocks are, and things like that. So it's very specific. The advantages and disadvantage of the S&P 500 index: if one stock within there, you know, has an amazing return, you're not going to see that, um, you're not going to see that much of greater benefit because you have a bunch all clammed in together, as seen for the ETFs. And but if you have the stock and it goes all the way up, then you'll see, you know, great returns. But on the flip side, if one stock does really bad within the 500 index, you probably not even going to feel it, or the ETFs. But if you have that one stock and it goes down, you're really going to feel it. So that's what I call diversifying your portfolio. Okay, next slide.
How can students start practicing investing? Say, for instance, they don't want to put in their investments right away, but they want to, practice first. So how would you say students can start doing that?
Oh, that's a great question. So what I would say is that, honestly, you can download something like Robinhood, and they'll give you a watch list, and then you can search companies that you're kind of interested in, that you're thinking about invested in. You can put it on your watch list, and you can pretend that you've invested money, and you can track to see what would it be like if I invested money, what would my returns be, what would my losses be, and things like that. um my my recommendation is to read The Intelligent Investor, the fourth edition, which was forwarded by Warren Buffett. That was one of the first books that I read before I invested. The thing the thing about investing is that you have to do your due diligence. You have to do your research. You don't want to I didn't want to jump too deep into this, but you have to do your due diligence, and you don't want to invest money that you need. So you don't want to invest your rent money. You don't want to invest your food money, because then there's a bunch of emotions that get tied into investing. The thing about the key to winning and investing is patience. You want to put your money in investing and let it grow over time. Years pass. So you don't want to invest money that you need, or you don't and don't and that's one thing I don't like suggesting certain stocks, because like you got to be careful about where you're getting your information, and you don't want to invest in um in stocks because the internet says it's going to the moon, or it's going real high, because you know what I mean. You don't want to do that. So you want to do your due diligence, and the key to doing your due diligence is looking at a company's financial statements. And the reason why is that, because when we ourselves go for loans, or apply for credit cards, the first thing they do is check our credit history. And the credit history shows our financials and all that. So that's the same due diligence that we have to do when we go to invest in companies, because you got to know who you're dealing with. Some some companies, like when you go to apply for real estate, they want to check your addresses, they want references. So you gotta look, if you want to invest in stocks, you gotta look to see who's the CEO. Who's the simple ways, if you don't want to, like, because it's a lot. The simple ways to do it is to do the Acorns and the index and ETFs and Berkshire Hathaway top 10 holdings. That's the easy way, and it's you gotta have patience. You gotta have patience. It's not investing is, and I'm not even talking about stocks in general. Just in real estate as well. If I'm going to move on to the next, but I just wanted to just explain this. One more example. Even in real estate, um, data has showed that people who buy real estate and hold it over amount of time makes more money than people who buy a house, a couple years, sell it, buy a house, couple years, sell it. It's the people who hold their hold their real estate. For another example, Warren Buffett, he lives in the same house that he I think it was 1950s or the 60s. He paid $50,000 for it, around $50,000. The house is now worth over $300,000. So, the proof is in the pudding. Buy and hold. So, it's money is a game of patience, and if you have patience, then you can win. Um, um, Takeaways. If you didn't get anything out of, if this was all, whatever. Key takeaway is the first step is track your money. I really wish I would have heard a presentation like this when I was going in college and in college was tracking money. I can't even tell you where all I do know it's the Chinese store and stuff like that. China Star, but yeah, so yeah, definitely track your money and live below your means. Don't fall into the hype. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Don't um 1 minute is hot, then the next year is not. Just live below your means. When I'm telling you, I had the nice black tinted out Mazda. It was recently new. Push to start. I had to turn it in. I had to live below my means. I was this close to it was hard. Just trying to figure out how to pay my bills, and because I had all these nice things and I thought I deserved it and whatever. But live below your means, and always pay yourself. Always pay yourself. Always pay yourself. That's you know there's another story in the richest man in Babylon, which I recommend reading that. But always pay yourself. Um, the last thing I want to say is you must think of ways for money to be your slave, or you'll forever be a slave to the money. And it doesn't matter how much your income is. Don't. I thought this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I thought because um, because I had my master's and because I had a high salary, I deserved nice things, and I didn't figure out a way for my money to work for me because I wasn't taught it. So yeah, so that's the key takeaways. And here's my contact information. If you ever have any questions or feedback, or your presentation was horrible and you want to tell me, that's my contact information. And my website, the Hustle Bubble. Basically, it's a community where I talk nothing about money and things like that in group economics. So the Hustle Bubble, and yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, if you have questions about like the military, law school, getting your master's, um, writing a book or anything like that, just reach out to me. Yeah, and ask me any questions.
If, for instance, for students that uh, are finding, what are other ways for students to, like, say, for instance, students that have student loans or maybe they don't have enough scholarship, what are ways that you think that you would say that they can take now so they won't fall into that pit of being in serious debt after college?
Hmm, that is a very great question, and some things that I wish I would have. Honestly, I wish I would have looked at off campus housing, because that was one of the things that really put me in debt, was living on campus. And I know that like you want that experience, and things like that. But I wish I would have looked more into that option. And also think about paying your interest while you're in school, because as I talked about compound interest, that stuff really adds up. When you look at the interest you've paid after your student loans, you will see that it's kind of close to what you borrowed initially. So it's like you're paying double. So and you'll see it in your monthly payment that they show you like what like the principal you paid and your interest. And sometimes your interest is a lot higher than what you paid on your principal. Um, and again, student loans and stuff like that. It's funny. That you've taken out student loans, but after you graduate and that 6 months is up, you be like, wow, I really got to pay this stuff back. So, and there's a couple different key ways that I think is pretty cool. So, the reason why I was interested in the government is because they have a public service. If you work there for 10 years full time and you pay under their repayment plan under the federal government, then you can apply for loan forgiveness. So that's public sector. Any public sector jobs, whether it's the university, federal government, they have that program. And the cool thing is now that Biden has extended it, those count towards my um, repayments, even though I'm not actually paying it because I didn't have to because of what Biden said, and it's 120 payments that you gotta successfully make on time. So it's 10 years, so 120 10 years. So I would look into maybe some public interest jobs. Yeah, yeah, public interest jobs. Looking a way to kind of cut your loans. If the refund, don't need it. I know it's hard. I know, you get that refund check and you're like, oh, this is mine, baby. And you go crazy with it. Maybe, I'm not saying give it all back, but maybe a half of it or a quarter, 25%, to your interest or something like that. Think, the future you will thank you. Believe me, I wish I would have done something like that because when I was in college, I was not even thinking about future me. Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you so much for taking your time out with us today and just dropping a lot of nuggets. And I hope that everyone was able to take what they needed from today. And once again, if you have any more questions for Mr. Blackshear, the information is in the chat. Hopefully we'll have something like this again. Once again, thank you, Schalor, for being with us today.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank